consciously eating.
Another day, another video. Welcome to the first Pro League video of this season 5. Today we will take a look at the series between WeirdRat and Haffey from week 1. And I have two beautiful co-casters with me today. It's gonna be Bscherm and Holy. I hope everyone has a good time casting this game, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. These two people will take a look or see it the first time, so I'm hyped for some new experienced casting. So yeah, I give it over to you.
I'm excited to be here. This is Bscherm. Especially, I'm excited to be here with Holy. Yesterday we were enemies. Today we're partners. Right?
Yes, it is how it is. And Little War Game community, I think it's a pretty normal occurrence. So I'm also happy to be here. And already really excited about the match, as it is a non-mirror matchup. WeirdRat opens racks. Haffey plays one den build.
Yeah. I'll say I'm not surprised at all that Haffey is at least opening den. He's pretty famously a den opener. His rack is really, really good. If raiders are not involved, I've played it before. It's pretty scary, but he's got crazy ping. Did you guys know that he plays off a mobile hotspot for his internet? So that's why his ping is so crazy. Like always, he's just playing off his phone. But yeah, he opens one den. Looks like the DC build, which is a divergence from his popular 2-den thing that he does a lot of times, but he's also pretty good at the DC build here. But looks like he's either scouting around for proxies with that one wolf, or he's just taking the secret path around so he avoids the raider.
Yeah, and the second wolf goes directly across. Oh no, it's also scouts. So we could say he is pretty scared about potential proxies, it seems like. But of course we know that there are no proxies on this map. In general,
oh my God. Oh, sorry. Did you guys see that one wolf? Like, I was wondering if it was timed out for that one wolf to miss that raider that was coming by. That was crazy how close it was for it to sneak by.
Yeah, but it looks like they missed each other. Yeah, so what I wanted to ask is, how do you feel about beasts on this map in general? Because I feel like the map is quite narrow and there isn't much space for a beast player to maneuver, so I would say out of the maps we have, this one isn't the best for beasts.
Yeah, I think that Haffey pretty much always picks beast because of ping issues for the opener's sake. So I don't think he's doing it for strategic reasons. Not that that was your question. Your question was more, how is beast on this map? I think I really agree with you on the openness of the map. Beast definitely does better when it has a lot of surface area to surround. This has a lot of choke points, like with those ramps and all the other ramps everywhere, and tight chokes into spaces. So as long as WeirdRat kind of takes advantage of those and takes fights in those choke points and whatnot, then hypothetically he's taking advantage of it. And it looks like WeirdRat's also opening mech, which also historically does pretty well on this map, especially if you can get up into those ledge areas.
Yeah, now what's actually really interesting to me is that he keeps producing raiders. So are we gonna see a raider kata composition or whatever? It looks quite unorthodox to me, but I'm not sure. Because he has 4 already. He keeps building.
Do you play
them.
raiders often, Holy?
No, I don't. I don't like raiders.
So 5 raiders, at least for me, is considered kind of a standard thing against a wolf opening. Usually you might, if you make more than 5 raiders, that's kind of non-standard. But 5 Raiders doesn't, to me, indicate anything weird. Oh, he's making gat. I have heard of the Raider gat. I haven't done it before, so I'm curious to see how this goes for WeirdRat. Looks like he's getting some harassment on the workers.
Yeah, really good move.
We got those guys down to red health, so hopefully he can come back and pick them off. Putting the hurt on these wolves here. Let's see if he can blink and... No, he's not going to blink and take that one.
Yeah, and he actually continues Raider production. So it is gonna be indeed Raider Gats, as you said.
Yeah, this does look like kind of a 2-base play, as opposed to getting a third, since he is continuing the Raiders and Gats. See if WeirdRat's Raider Micro is as good as Square Roots. They do kind of fall off when the snakes get involved. It feels like they just take so much more damage. Oh god. Get out of there, oh no. Oh my gosh, that was a bloodbath for the Raiders there.
Loses 2 Raiders, I think.
Yeah. As much as like Raiders kind of have this hype around being OP, they do feel like glass cannons to me. Like they really cannot afford to take damage if you want to keep them alive. And you really depend on fighting a ton. And so when you add the snakes, being able to attack them behind, they just freaking really do not have a good time.
And this worker pool, honestly, I hate this. I think it's way too far and he loses a lot of mining time. And that's like, what, 12 workers idling for like 30 seconds? I think that's just too much money wasted.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe he thought there was more coming, and it was a do or die situation. It's not looking good. He's doing a worker pull. Well, I guess it's not a worker pull if you expect the thing to finish. Yeah.
So I'm really worried here is that Haffey is actually only on 2 down. So this aggression isn't that, I don't know, that's heavy. He isn't investing that much into it. He is getting his 3rd base, but already WeirdRat is struggling to defend. He pulls workers again, and yeah, it just feels like the RB composition isn't working as good as he'd hope.
Yeah. I will say, if we look at resources, they're pretty even on resources lost. Haffey is a bit up on mined, and they both do have their 3rds up now. So comparing like resources lost, even your point about the aggression thing, I mean, it does seem like it's kind of evened out a bit. This drop coming is really going to make it harder for WeirdRat to be able to balance defense on his 3rd, though, since he's going to have to pull. Looks like he's pulling. Yeah, this is not going to be good for WeirdRat here, this multi-prong attack.
Yeah, and the attack instantly goes on. Once again, loses a lot of mining time with those workers. Haffey did a great job.
Maybe the workers are just on strike and refuse to work for better working conditions. I don't know. Maybe it's a union play here. Great harassment. It's always kind of a hard decision when you're getting dropped. Okay, how much do I bring to defend this? And I don't leave myself vulnerable elsewhere. Right? The drop player's trying to get them to overreact and pull too much. Got those 3 Raiders away.
What I actually like about how Haffey has been doing this is that he has been quite cautious and he hasn't been bleeding that many units. So he is aggressive, but if we look at losses, he actually lost way less while attacking his opponents, which is great. And also, Katas coming up clutch, killing the Gatling gun. That's what we love to see, obviously.
Also, Haffey's been able to get a 4th base up with upgrades. Well, I don't know if he's making upgrades yet, but he's got the testing lab going, and he's got, looks like he's pumping a ballista, which I'm slightly confused about. Maybe Maybe it was an accident. Maybe he's prepping for dragons. That I don't know. But he's got 4 dens going. He's got 4 dens up. Not making it. Probably just microing, and we'll start macroing up in a second.
Yeah, honestly, this game feels quite over to me. I think the moments when you as a Rex player fall behind in bases and are forced on the defensive, I think the options left for you are pretty limited. So probably what WeirdRat is gonna be banking on is making one big army and doing a one big push and hoping to kill his opponent here. I think that's the only option left. And yeah, Haffey understands that clearly and adds 4 more den, going up to 8 den. That's a lot of production. And also the fortress for dragons. So he's kind of going into everything, which, I mean, you have 4 bases, you are significantly better economically, so why not?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing here too is that because of your previous point about Beast needing to take open engagements with a lot of surface area, is that now that Haffey has sort of done a ton of damage to Haffey's done a ton of damage to WeirdRat. He's really put the pressure on WeirdRat to attack, which is why he has so much production. Per your thought that's what WeirdRat's going to go for, which means that now he's forcing him to come out, right? He's going to force him to come out, and then Haffey's just going to probably wait, take a great engagement where he gets maximum surface area. He's got these houses everywhere for scouting to make sure he doesn't get blindsided. So great scouting thing if you have the wherewithal to be checking the minimap. I think it's going to really force a great engagement on Haffey's end.
Now Haffey goes for drops, which I also like. Comes into the 3rd base. Yeah, the repair on the catapult saves it, and a lot of snakes actually die, so this time the drops aren't as successful, I would say, and the losses are way worse, but the Beast player is setting up his 5th base, so he can afford it, kinda.
Yeah. I bet Haffey is completely okay with now he's kind of in heavier losses or losing a lot of this. Like, he's happy. He's throwing down his dragons. He's getting an extra base. He can afford to throw away all this money. He's basically like someone who's won the lottery and blowing a bunch of it for something else later.
Indeed, and he goes into 3 dragon layers. That's a good amount of dragons. And a great choice against the Mac player, obviously, so... he is preparing for any situation. If WeirdRat goes across, he has dens to stop him. If this goes on to become a macro game, he has dragons to deal with that. Superior eco, better upgrades. Overall, just a great situation for Haffey here.
Yeah.
Also, I wanna...
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. I will say, at the moment, I think Haffey has not enough ground army to deal with this. He's going to engage. There's a little choky right there. I was going to say, I don't think he has enough to really win a fight. Maybe I'm wrong. I was thinking he was going to wait for the dragons to come out, but he's going to engage. He's really getting a ton of damage here. He's probably actually going to kill this now. So good thing he didn't listen to me about waiting to engage.
Yeah, I think the repair was a bit slow on WeirdRat, but also you got to remember that catapults have way less HP now, so they could die easier. And yeah, the interesting thing is, as you saw, as soon as WeirdRat started repairing, the fight actually went way better than in the beginning. So I think it was his mistake to repair later than the fight started. But yeah, now the dragons arrive, and it's kind of already faultless. This army is dead because there is nothing to protect it from dragons. And yeah, WeirdRat is still on 3 base. Haffey's on 5. I'm surprised he hasn't set up his like 6th base or whatever, 7th maybe. Because he could afford it, he has infinite money at this point. Producing dragons from 3 layers.
Yeah, there's a lot of dragons. We've got 2 ballistas, 1 more coming. Throws down another advanced workshop. Probably too little, too late at this point. But what else is he gonna do? If he makes more towers, he's gonna be even more behind.
Yeah, the total mining right now is 16k for Haffey and 11k for WeirdRat. It's the difference you rarely see in competitive matches, but yeah, that's what happens when you close yourself on 3 bases against the beast player. They're gonna just overwhelm you. And yeah, the ballista collapses. I mean, the ballistas were nerfed, but in this case, it wouldn't matter.
Well,
and WeirdRat, yeah, WeirdRat types out.
I've never seen the Raider Gat play, so I had just kind of no idea what to expect with that. Like, was WeirdRat just hoping to get a 3rd up safely? Was he hoping to aggress with that against the Wolves? I'm not sure, but either way, it seemed to work out with what Haffey did.
Yeah, I would say I didn't actually see any major mistakes from WeirdRat. Like, I think his micro was actually quite good. I think his position was decent, but it kind of felt like he was steamrolled on the map, which is quite weird because he is one of the best players there are. So I think props to Haffey for a great game on his side. Great multitasking. I think that's how you play Beast. Basically, a trademark Beast game from Haffey.
Yep.
Yeah, I will say if there's anyone's Wolves that you want to watch on how to micro most annoyingly and most effectively, it's Haffey. When there's a guest player that I join a game in, I can almost immediately guess if it's Haffey by how annoyed I am at the Wolves. I go, wow, I'm very pissed off right now. Is this Haffey? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, well, that was the tell. That's how I knew.
Okay. All right. Nice. We let's start the second game. All right, second game. WeirdRat was not able to beat the Beast play, the DC build from Haffey, and yeah, at some point was just 1 base behind, and then at some point he was 2 bases behind, and yeah, then there were a lot of dragons, and he tapped out. So let's see what game 2 brings.
Yeah, I wish I would be as good as Haffey at Beast, but sadly I'm not there yet. Anyway, let's see how the game goes. We have houses for now from our players. I'm curious to see what Haffey plays this time. Will it be Beast again?
I think the interesting thing about last game, there's been a lot of talk in ProLeague about the patch and oh my goodness, things are all different. Both of the players last game just give the middle finger to the patch. They're like, we're just going to play what we feel like playing. Haffey's going to play the supposedly underpowered Beast. If it is, he made it work anyway, right? And then no priest out of WeirdRat. He went Raider Gat, right? Which Gats became more expensive and Raiders were supposedly kind of under or nerfed a little bit against Wolves. I guess your opinion on if that's true. WeirdRat probably predicting that Haffey's going to open Den. Whether you're opening 2 Den or 1 Den, 2 racks is pretty good against that. Usually considered, if you have a correct micro, maybe a build order win or at least a pretty strong advantage you can get in the end of the game. So let's see how you still need to micro effectively. You can still lose with the Raider side on this, but you can get pretty ahead with it maybe. So let's see how it goes for WeirdRat.
Yeah, in general, I do think that the Raider was nerfed quite significantly, because although no major interactions changed, but when Raiders and Wolves clash, it's usually a long sustained fight, so you constantly pull back, regen, and engage again. And in that fight, I think those regen debuffs and damage debuffs hit the Raider quite hard, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been playing Raiders a decent amount. I haven't really noticed an issue, to be honest. Like I still, if I know the person's going to open Beast, I still prefer to be on the Raider end of it. So I'm not sure, but that is what people say, that it's made a difference. Haffey going around with the Wolves on the side. That's probably the most annoying thing as a Raider player is when you have a split area to micro against. You have to freaking switch between the bottom and the top Raiders. It just makes things so much harder because Wolves can kind of just pull away easily. You don't really have to look. Raiders a lot more annoying to micro with, but looks like WeirdRat didn't lose the bottom Raider, which sometimes happens to me. Glad to see he kept it alive. He's going to pick off. Ooh, maybe he won't pick off the Wolf there. Well, maybe he will with the extra Raider coming down. Haffey's probably cool with this. I know that Wolf players love to distract Raiders with a low quantity of Wolves. That way their other Wolves can go elsewhere. Looks like Haffey's making a third house, which means he's going to be a lot more committed to defending against the 2 racks. He's getting the Snake Charmer, which is going to be necessary to get those snakes to hold off this higher count of Raiders.
Yeah, and WeirdRat's already building the second castle. Honestly, it's looking great for WeirdRat. He has enough Raiders to fend off any potential aggression from Haffey, and he is forcing Haffey to invest heavily into one base defense while he's taking his second, so that's just a great situation.
Yeah, looks like Haffey agrees with you that he needs to get an expansion up, so he came out of his little nook hidey hole with the workers. As soon as he had those snakes out, he was pushing out so he could get an expansion. He's cut production to save up, and the Raiders are now on the run. This is great for Haffey to be able to get up an expansion. Looks like he was harassing with the Wolves in the meantime to kind of delay some of these workers going down.
Yeah, WeirdRat was hit by a little supply block. It wasn't too bad, but he was forced to defend with one Raider against those Wolves, which was kind of unfortunate. And here, well, he has, 5 Raiders, 2 Archers against this attack. I think he should be fine.
Yeah.
With 2 racks production, you don't really die against this low number of Wolves.
Looks like we've now hit the magical fun point of being the rack player of there's now enough beasts containing you inside your second base, and you're now faced with, okay, how do I push out and get my third? WeirdRat needs to kind of know what Haffey's doing. Is he getting a third base? Is he doing a 2 base all in? So hopefully he can sneak out a Raider or make a bird.
Yeah, in this situation, I think a bird is a great call. Plus, WeirdRat is actually on 2 base, on 2 racks, so I think he can actually push out if he wants to. But what I don't like is that he's engaging with his Raiders without Archers. I think this is just a waste of time and Raider HP.
Yeah, he may be concerned that there's an unknown number of Wolves on the side waiting for the Archers to come out, and then he'll get surrounded and then lose the game, whereas with Raiders, there's a bit more forgiveness if you get caught.
Yeah, that's why I think you build a bird, because if he builds a bird, he would see that Haffey is making a third and only has 2 dam, which means you can outproduce, or at least match the production, and obviously Rex units are stronger than Beast units.
I'm guessing here that he's saying, I don't want to spend the 70-ish gold on a bird. I'm going to make a dropship and just find out by harassing with probably archers and find out that way. That's an option. I think you're right. He could probably just push out with his archers. Maybe he's trying to keep it secret that he has a bunch of archers. Well, I guess it's not entirely secret because he gets to scout there. He sees at least 3 archers, but that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, now it's actually getting a bit scary for WeirdRat because Haffey set up 3 bases, and he is going into triple base worker production, which means he will be overtaking WeirdRat in worker count quite soon. And yeah, I think this raider drop needs to achieve something. If it doesn't, the situation will get worse for WeirdRat. And yeah, it gets spotted, which is just bad. And
Yeah,
Haffey actually,
go ahead.
yeah, Haffey switching into catapults here. Now, catapults and wolves, in my opinion, have terrible synergy, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think soldier catapults will be better than wolf catapults in every situation, in my opinion, but he opens again anyway, so
I think, in my opinion, it mostly comes down to how are you microing your soldiers or your wolf snake in conjunction with the catapults. Like you just can't let them get friendly fired, right? So as long as you have the right micro, maybe it's not too bad synergy. I wanted to call out, I didn't see, only from Haffey's perspective, if WeirdRat revealed the dropship, but either way, Haffey threw down the towers in fantastic timing to prevent all aggression from these dropships.
yeah, well, he saw the airship with his units, so he was ready for that. And yeah, WeirdRat isn't getting any damage down here, but he's getting a third, which, I mean, it's not bad. It is late, but you could live with that, I think. And he's getting upgrades. Now, upgrades, I think, are great against beasts for Rex unit. I think your army scales really well when it has an upgrade advantage. You can win some fights that seem unwinnable with good upgrades, so I like that idea.
Oh, WeirdRat was going mages. He decided to cancel that. He's going priest. All right, so he's going to play a little to the patch. He's throwing down an extra rack. How do you feel about the catapult versus the extra tech that Haffey's going for is catapult. The extra tech that WeirdRat's going for is priest. How do you feel about sort of that compositional matchup, Holy?
I think people kind of overhyped priests. I think priests are a good unit, but I don't think priests can be your main tech. So, like, if you are going Rex, for example, I don't think your ultimate Rex army is Rex units plus priest. I think it's gonna be Rex units plus something plus priest. So you either go catapults or, I don't know, werewolves, mages, but priests can't be your main tech. So
agreed.
I don't really like the decision to cancel your mages guild and just go for priests, because I think it's just not enough.
Yeah, I think he just canceled. I think he was making a rack, and he just canceled it. WeirdRat kind of going back and forth on stuff here, a little bit, maybe. Yeah, I think the priest hype mostly came from the 410 patch. I remember I had priest and I just stood in front of catapult fire with a healing ward down, and it was just crazy how fast he healed. But since they reduced it, I definitely don't feel comfortable doing that. I feel pretty good against, just a massive amount of ground beast. But as soon as you add catapults, you got to be freaking careful to not get hit with those blasts.
I think priest is great in middle game against beast. When you trade soldier archer against wolf snake, I think priest adds a lot of value because you will be getting hits in multiple locations, and the Beast player will try to take trades. And if you have healing in those trades or even between those trades, it adds a lot of value. But against catapults, yeah, I think it's just not enough. The damage output is gonna be too much.
Looks like
Yeah.
we have a little bit of a base trade scenario. Holy kind of coming around at his base. It looks like he's going to pull back. This is never the fun side of the end to be on when you walk across the other side of the map and now you have to come back instead of just base trading. The WeirdRat is going to opt to try to defend his own base rather than do a base trade.
Yeah, I don't like this decision. And
He is flanking nicely. He's cutting off some reinforcements, and he's probably going to do a worker pull and get a 3-pronged flank here. Ooh, this is. Let's see. He's going to have to time it out really nicely. You have to have everything come together at the same time if you want these sort of flanks to come. Haffey's pulling away that right side army with that one little wolf. That's great for him to get that tower up.
yeah, gigantic army from Haffey, and he is denying WeirdRat quite nicely here. His position is great. Okay, WeirdRat goes in. Let's see how it goes.
I think WeirdRat really needs to spread out his stuff more. His workers are just so clumped. You really need, against catapults, you need to really be spreading everything out so you don't take area of effect. He does shut down the tower. He does look like he's pushing him back, and they are on even worker count, so it could be worse. Nice.
Yeah, I think WeirdRat squeezed some water out of the stone here. I think that's fight went way better than it should have gone, but yeah, he stays alive. He lost some mining time, lost some workers, but the worker count is actually even right now, so it's decent. And the fourth base for Haffey is only right now starting, so there is no economical advantage for him. Oh, and oh my god, in with raiders, killing WeirdRats, killing Haffey's catapults. That's nice. That's a cool little play here.
Yeah, that's cool. That's neat. I will say, I think essential to that counterattack was that WeirdRat did a really good job of having a 3-pronged attack. When you want to attack in the mech, you just need to have everything as spread out as possible. So his decision to kind of split that up was essential there to be able to bring that big clump down of many catapults. Haffey now on the retreat. His fourth base may be threatened here.
Yeah, losing a lot of catapults for free. Only now it's 4 catapults, which is quite low, in my opinion. Overall, a nice, 2-3 minutes for WeirdRat. Stabilized his situation, killed some units. Is getting his next base up as well, which is good for him. Oh, and a lot of snakes dying for free for Haffey here. And those wolves won't be enough to stop the attack. Needs his mech army ASAP.
We'll call out the money lost between the two of them. Very different this game than last game. Haffey has quite a lot more money lost, although he does have more mines. He is at about a 1,500 deficit in money lost compared to WeirdRat, although he was able to hold his force up, which is great for him. Well, I guess they both have their force up now, so no advantage really.
Also, what I wanted to mention, Haffey lost 15 catapults already. Now, that sounds like a lot, and this is what I think the new patch does greatly, is with the new costs for catapults, I think losing them becomes a bigger deal, and now we actually see that when Haffey loses a lot of catapults and he is quite far behind in money lost. So I think this sort of army becomes way more balanced in the new patch, And while it is still strong, it's actually really punishing when you lose it, which is great.
Yeah, the death mech ball becomes a little bit easier to handle, not as depressing when it's going.
Yeah, but what I kind of don't like from WeirdRat is that he still has no extra attack, and he is only now adding the Mage's Guild. So his Mage's transition will happen, but it will be really, really late, which I don't really like.
Yeah.
Like, imagine he had like 5 extra mages with this army. I think it would be a completely different story. I think he would be able to deal a lot more damage.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens with the timing. He does have it now. WeirdRat has this little army down there with the archers at Happy's middle base on the right. I was kind of concerned it might get flanked with some wolf stuff, but looks like Happy's pretty heavily on mech, so he's able to run away even with any kind of chase. Or even if he got flanked by Gats, he'd probably be able to run away.
Yeah, WeirdRat also cleans up the army that was trying to attack his 5th base. I think he killed like 10 beast units, which was great for him.
I'd love to see... Oh, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to just say it once again. The difference in money lost is like twofold at this point. It is really significant, and I think Haffey needs to do something because like you can trade a bit worse as beasts, but you can't trade like this. It's just not gonna work for you.
Yeah. I do like to see that Happy's now getting some work done with the drops. Hopefully he can take out a bunch of workers during this scramble of battles going on. He took down that tower over on the left.
Yeah, but now losing the base, this is
yeah.
significant damage. But the drops are denying some mining, which is good.
You know that thing you were saying Happy needs to pull out? I think having these dragons might be that thing. WeirdRat very heavily on anti-ground type units. He's got soldiers, raiders, mages, which is great against everything ground. But now that Happy has some dragons coming out, nothing really shoots up with a lot of strength. So if Happy can get that dragon snowball going,
yeah, I think dragons are a great decision here. Basically, from a beast ground army, he switches into a mech ground army supported by dragons. That's a really interesting idea, and the one I like personally. I think it's a great combination. Yeah, the soldier drop is gonna get killed. That's a lot of money for WeirdRat. Basically, what, 500 gold disappearing in 2 seconds? That's painful. WeirdRat's counter-attacking with some small archer groups, but not gonna achieve much. Just a couple of workers dead here and there. I think WeirdRat has been maneuvering his army really well. He's been pulling Haffey into one place, then attacking into his vulnerable bases. Just overall great maneuvering, WeirdRat.
It is good. He's taking advantage of the mech lower movement speed. Harder, it's easier to get kind of pulled around. Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know what WeirdRat's going to do against so many dragons. There's just so many at this point. He's so heavily invested into the mages that, I mean, Happy's probably saying, yep, go ahead. You have the ground battle here, but I've got a ton of dragons. He's not going to engage it, though. He probably knows he doesn't need to force that. He's just going to take out...
Oh no, a lot of workers dying for WeirdRats. That's quite bad. And also, the catapult drop actually killing WeirdRat's base in the top right corner. So WeirdRat suddenly finds himself on 3 bases, and his main is already mined out, which means he is practically mining from 2 bases.
There's a firefight up there coming up the ramp. Not a favorable angle of attack, but he's able to take that out anyway. The dragons are going to be quite the nuisance dealing with that. Haffey is not making any more dragons. Let's see.
The airship goes down. Dragons have no upgrades, so they are gonna be dying quite easily, but they're still hard to deal with, and Haffey keeps dropping his catapults while doing all this, and he is setting up new bases. He has been mining from his 4th all this time, so his mining has been quite healthy, I think. And suddenly, if you check the gold lost, it is actually quite even. So all that advantage that WeirdRat had is suddenly gone completely.
Yeah, I think the dragons here really came and did it. Were able to catch up on that deficit. Unfortunately, Haffey's bottom left base he was trying to kind of get up without any defense on is getting harassed by a large number of raiders. I think he's more caring about getting this middle base up. He's got a ton of mech over there. He's got dragons coming to flank as well. Maybe he can save it. It's like 3/4 done built. Hopefully he can keep it alive, unless he'll have to remake. Has to be really careful with this big clump of catapults, which mages love to shoot into when they're clumped up. The invisible raiders, well, actually no, not a pain in the butt. He's got that dropship detector, which is cool because I forgot you can do that. I've always been making birds recently to deal with this, but dropship's probably better.
Yeah, they are quite. They have more HP, which is great. Yeah, and it feels like WeirdRat is running out of fireballs, which makes dealing with this catapult army extremely more hard. And the dragons are a constant threat.
Yeah, I've always struggled, honestly, just being the mage player on this end, right? Like you come up, you throw down a bunch of fireballs, right? You blast them all at once, and then suddenly, if you didn't kill everything, you now just have to run away, and the mech players have to. So I'm always curious to see how the mage end of this does. I'd love for it to be viable, but maybe it's not as viable. Maybe it's more because Haffey has the dragon. I'm not sure, but either way, the dragon catapult side would be getting the better end of this.
A couple of pretty terrible engagements for WeirdRat. He's been losing a lot of mages with energy, which dwindled his fireball stock. He now has very limited amount of fireballs, which makes the fights even worse for him. And the amount of dragons is consistently high. I think Haffey isn't going all in into them. He's using them more as a support force than a main army, and it is working great.
Yeah, you get the vision, catapults. They can't fire as far in this new patch, but they need that vision to be able to shoot their best shot. Let's say catapults getting caught a little bit out of position, which is great. WeirdRat blinking forward to take advantage of this.
Suddenly WeirdRat kind of wins the fight. Like, we were talking about how good Haffey's army was, and then suddenly it just collapsed. I mean, the dragons survived, but the catapult just disappeared. It was really weird. It felt like Haffey was in control, but...
Yeah, he was kind of extending out a lot. Like, he wasn't really taking advantage of that high ground. His stuff was all split up. WeirdRat doing a great job of flanking it. He's got max upgrade attack on the archers, so they're not as the mages and archers are not as afraid of the dragons. Does look like Haffey holds it though. He's got some reinforcements, catapults come back up, and he's got to hold these ranged attack units at bay. So
yeah, and the important part is his base is mining. Like, WeirdRat right now is mining his third, but his third will run out right now. It has 20 gold left. And with that, he's left with one mining base. While Haffey is on 2, which is, 2 is bigger than 1, I guess. Meaning that the economical situation will be getting worse for WeirdRat. And he kinda needs to either go or make a base, and he decides to go, which I totally understand. I think it's a reasonable call, but breaking catapults is really hard. Catapults are great defensively.
Happy's dragons on the left side of the map getting tons of work done on those workers on the extra base, but it leaves his catapults a bit more vulnerable now to not have that vision, extra support, so he's pulling away. Looks like he's sacrificing that base. Happy's dragons going up to Happy's third to find some goodness.
Yeah, but the problem is for WeirdRat is that Haffey has made a new base in the bottom left corner. So he is still on 2 mining bases. And WeirdRat just went down from 1 mining base to 0. He is currently mining 0 gold, which is
And
not
0
good.
is also worse than 2, by the way, I might add.
Yeah, but the problem is the difference is even bigger now. Because 0 is also less than 1.
That's true. I'm glad our math skills are coming into play here to cast. It's good to know it's useful.
Yeah, WeirdRat's
Cool.
desperately trying to set up at least 1 base, which he will succeed, but the problem is Haffey is still on 2. And the catapult is once again quite threatening. WeirdRat did a great job of killing the previous Kata army, but the next one is here. And, the amount of dragons doesn't go down, it actually went up. Haffey now on 11 dragons and 12 catapults. That's a scary army, I'd say.
Happy, I wanted to call out that Happy's not just using dragons to harass the bases. He also keeping his dragons with the catapults, and he's using that catapult drop on the undefended base, which is great utilization. Now he's mining nowhere.
Now, actually, terrible news for WeirdRat, as his army is split and archers are left alone against this catapult, which is never good. Mages are desperately trying to come and help, but they're gonna be late.
I think dragons have the ability to smell blood because they are concaving on these archers that, although upgraded, they are taking the better end of this fight. Hopefully the catapults don't get blasted into oblivion by the fireballs. It looks like mages are retreating, so they don't... Oh. Throw some in. Slightly damages the catapult. Happy looks like he's going to hold this.
Yeah.
GHH? Okay, we get the GG. Good game.
Yeah, I mean, great games overall. And I'd say really good army composition and army maneuvering out of both players, but Haffey comes out on top with his basically dragon catapult in the end. I think he had no other combat units other than those 2, which is quite interesting.